Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Tangzu Nezha, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships, and all of you who have given one-time gifts who helped to fund the purchase of the Tangzu Nezha. Thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. It is much appreciated, and you all rock. Alright, so the Tangzu Nezha will set you back $400 from your bank account. It is currently on sale directly from Tangzu for $340. The Tangzu Nezha is a hybrid configuration. It has 6 balanced armatures and 1 electret driver. It has 16 ohms of impedance, 106 decibels of sensitivity, and a frequency response range of 10 Hz to 20 kHz. The Tangzu Nezha comes in this rather large box. Get some artistic flair on the front, some specs on the back, and then when you open up the box, you take off the sleeve, and you're greeted by this black box, and then the inside's really nothing too spectacular. You get a place for the IEMs to sit, and then a big huge carrying case, and a few accessories. The carrying case, it looks like this. It's black, says Tangzu on it. Nice and leatherette type of material. A little bit big for a pocket, but definitely will fit in a bag, and it's going to protect your IEMs. Opening it up, and you have a pocket up top, and then you have this tray which you can wrap your IEM around if you want, or you can take it out and just set them there, which is the way I prefer to do it. Very nice case. I like this case a lot. A little bit big, probably won't fit in most pockets. Alright, so then you also get 3 different types of tips, and the 2 of them are wide bore. You get the mkiii wide bore tips. You get the ones that are a little bit on the longer side, and then you get the little bit ones that are shorter, which are the ones I preferred. And then the grape olive red stem tip was also provided, which I didn't mind any of these tips. I did prefer the little shorter ones than the longer wide bore tip. The grape olive shape worked also. The longer ones were not quite as comfortable for me. They all sounded very similar, and there wasn't really enough of a difference to be mentioned, in my opinion. It was just more of a comfort. And then you get the Nezha. And the Nezha is a very, very pretty IEM. I like the look of them. Very pretty faceplate with the red and the gold and the black. The cable that comes with them is also very nice. Connects with 2-pin. You do have this very small connection here. Very nice ear hooks. Well controlled. Just enough tension. And then you have a small split made of metal with a cinch that stays in place. And then a termination that is swappable, so you can just pop it off, and you get 3.5 and 4.4, and it just pops into place. It's a little bit on the large side, but I don't mind that. And then it's pretty snug, so it's not going to just pull out when you pull out of your source. We're getting back to the build of the Nezha. Gorgeous faceplate. They're a little bit on the thicker side, a little bit on the large side. As you can see, they have a very long nozzle. Nice wing, very ergonomic build. Even though they are on the larger side, they are extremely light. I was rather impressed at how light they are and how durable they feel for being a resin build. I really do like the look of them. And take that off here. You can see how aggressive that angle is and how long that nozzle is. So with them being a little bit big, I was a little bit worried, but they are extremely comfortable, and they fit my ears very, very well. I have no issues whatsoever with comfort, and they just disappear into ears. They're actually They don't protrude very far out, and they just snug right in. Isolation of outside noises is phenomenal. I was rather impressed at how much isolation of outside noises there is. You definitely have to pop them out in order to carry on a conversation with somebody, unless you're an expert at lip reading, which I am not. And the only things that I was really able to hear on a muffled basis were really loud things like my coffee grinder and vacuum cleaners and loud vehicles. Most normal everyday car, couldn't really hear it passing by, but louder trucks I was able to hear, and the vacuum and the coffee grinder, but they were muffled. These things are probably somewhere about 70% of outside noises being blocked. These things are fantastic. And if you add foam tips, it gets even better. So these things are great in that regard. Comfort wise, I can wear them for several hours before I have to take a little bit of a break. And 5-10 minutes, I'm back at it listening for a couple more hours. So I could do these all day long with just a couple minute break every now and then. The Tangzu Nezha, they are not really that hard to drive. 16 ohms, 106 decibels sensitivity. They are a little bit sensitive to higher output impedances. They do tend to hiss a little bit on some sources, so do be aware of that. But I found that everything was able to power them. It did not matter what dongle I was using, and DAP or desktop, everything drove them with ease and did not have to go very high at all on the volume knob. They do respond nicely to a little bit better sources. They do scale with a little bit of power as well. Just be aware of the output impedance. I found that the Nezha was very, very content on all sources, and it did a good job of revealing the differences in source presentations. The Tangzu Nezha. Let's talk about the tips differences really quickly. I know that the stock tips really didn't make a difference as far as sound, and it was more of a comfort thing. The foam tips that I used were Sonicfoams, and I found that they also did not alter the sound, but they added in a little bit extra isolation and also added in a little bit more of a comfort thing. So if you like foam tips, I would use the Sonicfoams, which are a wide bore foam tip, and they're about the same length as these shorter wide bores. The Tangzu Nezha, how does it sound? So the Tangzu Nezha has a very neutral, natural presentation, and the bass extends okay into the sub bass. There's not a whole lot of presentation there. There's a little bit of rumble and grumble, a little but it's not really anything that's gonna be whoa, wow, this has got a lot of bass. It's when called upon, it'll do adequately. But if you really like sub bass, the Nezha is probably going to disappoint you. But the Nezha has really nice mid bass and upper bass, and it's not a like demonstrative, all powerful type of bass that's just going to like woo, grab you and just drive it home. No, it's a more detailed and quality bass. It has nice impact and slam, a little bit of punch and a little bit of kick, and it's enough to keep the toes tapping and the arms kind of moving around a little bit if you're an air drummer, but it's not going to just blow your socks off type of bass. This is a quality and detailed bass, and it is more about the tone and the timbre and the subtle qualities in the bass. There's nice texture to it, and it has a nice body and note weight to it, but it's just not the most hard-hitting, grab you, just throw down and bob the head type of bass. If you're looking for that type of bass, I would stay away from the Nezha. But if you're looking for a quality, accurate, and true bass, I would definitely look at the Nezha. Going into the upper bass, there is a nice impact. Also, just like the mid bass, not quite as much, but there is still some nice fullness and authority there. Going into the mids have a nice fullness, very good note weight, and they're very well controlled and very balanced and cohesive. There's not any areas that are fighting for attention and that are crowding out and pushing forward. It's a very even keeled mid, and it's a very natural and neutral sounding mid with a nice note weight and very good tone and timbre. And then the details and resolution also is very good. I was rather impressed at how instruments flow across and through the octaves without sounding like they are getting louder and more forward and pushed in any area. They are very even keeled and very cohesive and balanced. And then going into the treble extends nicely. There's good air and nice space, and there's enough sparkle and energy throughout with nice note weight. And overall, the treble has that amount of energy that's just right. It doesn't have too much and it doesn't have enough. It's right in between there, and it stays well controlled. Just like the mids and the bass, it's about the quality instead of the quantity. And it has a nice pleasurableness to it. At times I did wish I had just a little bit more of a bite and an edge to it. It is slightly rounded, but overall it's a very pleasurable treble, and it has a nice amount of energy and sparkle. So the bass, the mids, and the treble, they all play together very cohesively, very even keeled, well controlled, and nothing is fighting for attention. And it all plays together very nicely. And it's very defined, refined, and focused between the mids, the bass, and the treble. The soundstage of the Nezha is a very natural soundstage. It's not going to wow you with this big, huge width, and it's not going to amaze you with things whizzing around your head all over the place. What it is going to amaze you with is how it places things accurately and moves them about the stage, in and out and through, and you can just follow everything, and you can locate things very well. The imaging of the soundstage is phenomenal. You can lock on and follow it from side to side. And then on top of that, you have nice width as far as reproducing different venue sizes. So if you're small and cozy, if you're a little bit bigger, if you're a little bit bigger, and it even gets into the grand size, but it's very accurate to the track. And so it's going to portray things as they sound. It's not going to try to artificially enhance things and always make things sound wide or big, huge, and spacious. It does a really good job of giving you what is right here in front of you. It does a really good job with location. You can lock on and follow it from side to side. Details enter in, cross, and leave. They don't just abruptly leave or abruptly enter. They go and they exit out, and they exit in or enter in very well. The details and resolution of the Nezha are also very good. I was rather impressed at how much is there. I did not have any complaints of it. Man, I wish I was hearing something else, and I always hear this. Had no problems whatsoever. I did not miss anything. And in fact, there were moments of where I was like, I don't normally hear that in this type of price range. And so I was rather impressed at how much details. And then the resolution of those details is fantastic. Everything's very well controlled, very refined, defined, and focused. There's no harshness, there's no glassiness, no glariness, no muddled, no jumbled, nothing of that sort. Everything is very well resolved. I was rather impressed at the capabilities of detail retrieval and resolution of the Nezha. And then tone and timbre. Very, very natural sounding. All the instruments sounded very accurate and very true and well reproduced. I was rather impressed at how well it did pianos, strings, woodwinds, and brass instruments. They had a nice bite and a nice crispness to them, and yet at the same time they sounded very natural and very full sounding with nice note weight, and they didn't have this tinniness or anything of the sort. It did a really good job of reproducing. And then vocalists had a nice fullness to them, and also at the same time breathiness and airiness. So overall, the Tangzu Nezha, I'm rather impressed with the Tangzu Nezha. It's a very neutral and natural sounding IEM that's very balanced and cohesive. How does it compare to another very neutral sounding IEM, and that is the SoftEars Studio 4. And the SoftEars Studio 4 is a little bit more airy. It has a little bit more space to it. Does not have quite as much of a fullness in the note weight. Doesn't have as much impact in the mid bass and upper bass regions. Similar-ish in the sub bass, maybe just a little bit more, but I mean they're pretty close. And then going into the uppers, the SoftEars is a little bit more mellow. It doesn't quite have as much sparkleness and energy as the Nezha does, but it still extends nicely. Soundstage wise, is a little bit closer on the Studio 4, and it does a very similar job in depth and layering, and imaging and placement is very similar. Detail retrieval and resolution is slightly better on the Nezha. And then an IEM that it really reminds me of in tonality and just the way it presents is the ThieAudio Oracle Mark III. The ThieAudio Oracle Mark III is better detailed, better resolving, and overall is a better performer. But if you're looking for something that's very similar in sound, the Nezha is it. The Oracle does have a little bit more extension into the sub bass. You get a little bit more there, and a little bit more impact and slam throughout the bass, and is a little bit better controlled. The mids have a little bit more naturalism to them, but also at the same time are slightly more forward. Soundstage wise is a little bit deeper, a little bit better layered, and as mentioned, it's slightly better detailed and resolving. And so the Oracle is the next step up from the Nezha, but they are very similar sounding. The Tangzu Nezha. Yeah, I like this, and I like this a lot. I'm rather impressed by the Tangzu Nezha. And if you're looking for an IEM that can be used as a stage monitor and give you very natural and neutral presentation on the stage with accuracy and placement, with depth and layering, and not get confused, I would recommend the Nezha. But if you're also looking for a daily driver that has a very neutral, natural presentation, and you want to hear all the things going on without being mesmerized by this massive, huge sound stage and a little bit of artificialness and a lot of peakiness up top, I would recommend the Tangzu Nezha. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information regarding how you contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, I want to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all that you provide. I also want to thank those who give one-time gifts. Thank you very much for all that you provide, and for helping to purchase the Tangzu Nezha and other products. So thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out the links down below. There's various ways that you can do it, with one-time gifts through PayPal, Venmo, and also YouTube, or through monthly subscriptions, Patreon and YouTube memberships, where you can get access to videos early, and also other benefits like Discord and other benefits. So check out the links down below. There's all kinds of other information down there, like music recommendations and gear recommendations, gear rankings, and all kinds of other things listed down below. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.